Welcome to the TrueQC podcast. Today's episode is about how you achieve quality leads without vertical integration. And we have with us today the CEO of SP Media and ex-VP of ABM at Madison Logic, Lewis. And we also have Kate with us, who's our customer success manager. And we knew that Lewis was going to ask difficult questions, so we got her on the call. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty well today. Excited to be on the show. Really excited to chat with you and Kate. I always enjoy my conversations with you, Danny. We tend to wax philosophic on a pretty regular basis, and Kate has always been one of the most really succinct and informative people I've gotten to work with in terms of customer success. So I always look forward to a conversation with her, especially about this subject matter, because I really appreciate her expertise.
Awesome. And I believe that we all three of us are in various parts of the world doing various things and coming together and sharing information on this podcast. Um, I think, Lewis, you're based in New York, right?
I am in Brooklyn, New York, despite what my visual background, for those who could see this, might tell you. I am not in Wakanda. I'm still right where I grew up. I love New York City. I'm a mainstay. I feel like we've seen a lot of flight this year, but I'm here and I intend to be here for the foreseeable future, at least until I eventually travel up to a place that looks more like my background. Where are you, Kate?
Me, I'm based just outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. So again, grew up not more than 15 minutes. It's certainly a wonderful place.
Go Phillies.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Very cool, guys. Mine's not a fake background because I'm in Dubai and we moved most of our people here, and the entirety of that reason was that everything's open here, and then we have people working in the office for our clients all day, right? So it's just amazing to be in the city and have the city being open at least somewhere in the world in these difficult times. Anyway, so Lewis, what do you think of TrueQC, and what are the questions that you have on your mind that we can answer for you today?
So first, let me say it's been a great pleasure from the customer's perspective working with TrueQC. I've really seen an impact on my results in terms of generating quality leads for our customers. And in my time at Madison Logic, I mean, we had some of the world's largest enterprise clients: IBM, Amazon, Intel, Microsoft, and utilizing TrueQC to really to quality control the lead data for these companies, improve both our experience with them as their provider, but also really improve their experience and their ROI on those leads. They were able to get back to sales or get back to selling immediately after receiving leads, which is a big deal. But I do have a lot of questions for Kate and yourself about how it is that you guys achieve those outcomes, because I love the outcomes I get, but I think both myself and our audience could have a greater understanding of how we get to that point, right? So I want to kick it off by asking Kate a question, which was, so my first question is actually for Kate, and I was wondering, Kate, how does the process of running your leads through the TrueQC platform affect the quality of the leads in terms of data accuracy?
Right. When you send us leads and we receive those lead files from you, our team then goes through every single data point in the lead file that you've sent to us, whether it be job title, industry, company size, phone number, email. And what we do is we ensure the validity of the data points that you have received. What we have actually found is when customers do then send us that data, somewhere between 50 and 60% is the level of accuracy that they're bringing to us. They don't know that when they receive the lead, because the vendor that has provided the lead data to them, their belief is that that data is accurate and is correct. But when our team gets a hold of it and we run it through our processes, again, of the data verification, phone verification, data correction, what we found is there is a disparate data point in what is given to us and what is in fact accurate. And we're able to then validate more of those leads. And we see an increase of data accuracy of upwards of to about 95% of the entire file.
So you're starting at what point of accuracy? Is it like 50%, 60% accurate data?
60% on average, yes.
Okay, so you're looking at an increase of 35 to 45% in data accuracy through this
That's
process.
correct. Yes.
Okay. And then I'm curious as to how this affects cost. Danny, how does this process end up affecting the CPL for clients?
I mean, that's the first question that a client asks us, right, when they onboard us, and the answer to that question is not not there's no impact on the CPL, right, for the lead, because when a vendor is supplying a lead, the QC should have already been done on that process. And if the acumen of the vendor is not enough to understand that an engineering manager could be in IT or could be in construction, then our clients go back to the vendors and say that, hey, there's a penalty for every disqualified leads. And in order to save everybody's time, we also do have a list of blacklisted vendors that we supply to our clients after they sign a contract, so they know that these are the people they definitely should not be working at off the bat.
So you're saying that the net savings from utilizing the TrueQC service, including the blacklist and the actual quality control services that Kate described earlier, is ending up saving customers money because when it comes down to it, they're getting better data accuracy and they're able to actually take advantage of all their leads. Whereas before, they would have had wasted leads, which they would have either had to try to get refunds for, or they would have sent to their client, and their client would have been unhappy because they would have been unable to reach those leads. So you're
Exactly.
basically saying it pays for itself.
Right. And I do feel that 50% better data, even if the clients don't send the data back, right? 50% better data is 50% more conversion, 50% more reaching to the prospects, and that's how our customers get repeat business all the time.
Right. So the effect on ROI really outweighs any increase in CPL that you might pay to use this service.
Exactly.
So that brings me to a question for Kate, because I realize that you described this process. There's quite a few steps in it. It seems like a lot of people are involved and you're doing a great deal of work to improve this lead data quality. Are these leads still relevant by the time they get back to the consumer? Because I realize that you guys are able to do this relatively quickly, but I'm wondering what time does it take on average and how relevant are leads by the time they come in?
Sure. That's a great question, and one that we get quite often. Our processes, though they are very thorough, and we do have a lot of steps that go through the full QC process, on average, we're able to return lead files to our customers within 24 to 48 hours. So the relevancy truly isn't really an issue. The other point of it is that the data that you're getting, we have confirmed that it is accurate. So, even if the lead came in, you wanted to QC a lead that you received 6 months ago, we've now provided you the most current information on that lead. So if their title changed, or if their phone number changed, or let's say the email domains have since changed, we've then updated that data for you. So it becomes that much more relevant for your sales team. And then the time lag really doesn't make much of a difference at all.
Yeah, 1 to 2 days seems like nothing to increase your data accuracy by 35 or 45%, and by extension, obviously, give better quality leads to the client so they can go out and generate, greater ROI. And I think ultimately one of the things that I learned as a customer is you simply have to go to your providers and buffer that 1 to 2 days in delivery date so that you can get your leads into TrueQC and you can really see where the quality data is coming from, and you can provide the best possible leads to your client. Or if you're a direct client, you can provide the best quality leads to your sales team. And so, speaking of these costs and these leads that are not the best quality leads, when you do find a lead that's inaccurate, or a number of leads that are inaccurate or invalidating, who ends up owning the cost of those leads, those invalid leads? Where does that typically fall in your experience?
I think the cost of these invalid leads is borne by the vendor, like I said before, the people are working with, because the supplier, if he's performing bad leads, then there's a lot of wastage, right? And I think that there's no such cost, because usually what our clients have tried to do is they have started to realize the importance of the process, and they have started to penalize their vendors, and also started using our list of vendors that we have, that we introduce to our clients that are doing well for others. So they have the best vendors on their Rolodex, and and also we know for a fact, right, that we don't work on any of the vendors that are going to disqualify or have 70% plus disqualification on the leads.
So at the end of the day, your vendors are really accepting the cost of the invalid leads, but realistically, this service is helping you to reduce the number of invalid leads, both through the QC process, but also by providing you access to vendors who TrueQC knows to have the highest quality data based on working with them through the TrueQC quality control process in the past. Um, and when we think about these vendors and their acquisition of leads, it brings me to another question for Kate, which is, where do you at the end acquire these leads? And you gave a pretty solid description earlier of how you validate the data. So I want to ask you to reiterate that, but what is the acquisition process for you?
So it's sort of twofold. One of the ways that the leads come through to us is that these clients supplied or vendor supplied. So, we're working with the publisher or the agency or the media company and or working with the end customer. So they're actually bringing us their leads and they're saying, hi, I received these from ABC vendor. Can you QC them for me? And then QC them prior to us putting them into the CRM, sending them out via marketing automation or to their SDR team. So that's one source for us. The others, Danny's mentioned, we do have a stable of vendors that we work with who have passed through our quality thresholds. And we know that they provide us with 70% accuracy or better of leads. And we know that when they come through to the QC side, most of the leads will pass through that data. So those are really the two spaces where we acquire the leads, is either client supplied or working with the vendors that we've approved on our side.
So you have a list of vendors who are essentially TrueQC accredited vendors at this point in time.
Correct.
So I wonder, is there a future for TrueQC in becoming like an MRC where there's a focal point on accreditation of these lead providers? Because I feel that there is no governing body that accredits data quality for lead providers. That's something I experienced as a customer, is that we'd have to trial every lead provider to see what their data quality was. Now, you guys are offering essentially a VIP list of lead providers that meet this standard, but could you be in contact with any number of the hundreds of lead providers out there, or should they contact you to go through your validation process of their leads to see if they could make it to an accredited level with your platform? Do you think that would benefit a number of both smaller and newer lead generation services?
I do think that is certainly something that we could build towards. Absolutely. We're always looking for partners and we're always looking for lead gen providers who are on the same wavelength that we are, which is truly providing the best contactable information for our customers. So, if we can play a part in that and sort of being that third party agnostic quality control in the lead gen space, that's definitely something that we are building towards.
I like that idea. I think that I've met with a number of different lead providers in my experience, in particular as vice president of ABM at Madison Logic, and so many of them I think could have benefited from having that TrueQC check on their data, and eventually getting to a point where they were using your system almost as a form of accreditation for their data quality, so that coming in to partners like Madison, us as a partner could know, oh, these folks are TrueQC accredited. We don't have to trial them, right? I think that would be a really great advantage for lead providers, and also for for wholesale buyers and even for direct clients, because it could really just be a symbol of excellence. The same way that, as I mentioned before, as like MRC accreditation is for most people in the advertising world.
Sure. And I think when you score your own leads, right, then it's very hard for you to disqualify a lead. But we don't care about the lead. We don't know how it was generated, right? We just care about if it's the right thing for the client or not. And I think that makes us that governing body without having interest in those leads, right?
Right. You're truly an impartial third party. You have no horse in the race about which lead provider generates the leads. Your goal is simply to increase the quality of data across any lead that comes through your system. And I do think that impartiality matters. I often will say, as someone who's led display teams as well, when a display campaign is set up, I won't let the same ad ops manager or campaign manager QA the campaign as the one who set it up, because I don't think people do a good job checking their own work, right, so to speak. So I think that you're describing the idea that people shouldn't check their own work. If you're a lead provider and you're generating leads, you really shouldn't do your own quality control because you're not impartial, and you're probably working off the same set of data that you were originally generating from. So, where's your answer key, so to speak? No teacher grades a test without an answer key. And I think True QC is really a universal answer key that lead providers could use to ensure that they're giving their clients the right answers to these questions.
Sure. I mean, every teacher would pass their own son, right?
Right. I don't really have any other questions today for you guys. I think you've answered all my really significant questions as it kind of relates to, how do you achieve great outcomes? How do you achieve quality leads without having to necessarily integrate your QC into your overall lead generation process? And I think you've even kind of shown why integrating it isn't a great idea, because you lose that impartiality we just talked about that can be so valuable to keeping everybody honest, right? I mean, True QC right there in the name, right? It's true. Right, and that's the most important part: is your data true? Is it real? Is it accurate? So I think I know everything I need to know about that, and I hope that the folks listening today now know everything they need to know. It's really been a pleasure getting to chat with both Danny and Pete a little bit today, and thank you, Danny, for letting me just ask all these questions and kind of act as host today. I know usually that's your job, so I appreciate you doing a quick switcheroo with me. But that's all I had for today. So thank you to Danny. Thank you to Kate. Thank you both for inviting me on the show and letting me ask the questions. This has been the True QC podcast, How Do You Achieve Quality Leads Without Vertical Integration episode. I hope everyone has enjoyed it, and have a wonderful week. Bye, everybody.
See you, Louis. Bye.